everybody, and welcome to How to Get More from Your Rental Store. I'm Pat Flannery. As many of you will know, I am the editor of Canadian Contractor Magazine, and this is our panel discussion as part of our special week in partnership with the Canadian Rental Association to talk to you about equipment rentals, and we want to give everybody a real update and a real understanding of that industry and how it can help your business, because things have changed. There's been a lot of change and evolution in the equipment rental industry over. Certainly since I got involved with it. I used to be the editor of Canadian Rental Service, which was the magazine for that industry, for about 12 years. And even in that time, things have changed a lot. So here to talk to us about all of that today and just have a discussion about it is Warren Carrier. He is with Cooper Equipment Rentals in Calgary. There's Shelley Cole. She is with GNS Equipment Rentals in Halifax or near Halifax. And Peter Kinney, he is with Unique Diesel in New Brunswick. Actually, Peter, I didn't even get the city you were in. Where are you?
I'm in Moncton.
You are in Moncton. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's in Moncton, New Brunswick. We're all safe from forest fires at the moment. We covered that off before we got on. So don't anybody watching, don't worry about it. No one's going to burst into flames at any moment right now. First of all, let's go around. Thanks very much to everybody, and thanks very much to Cooper Equipment Rentals, our big Canadian national rental franchise, who is helping us out with the sponsorship on this. So we really appreciate Cooper, and we really appreciate the Canadian Rental Association for getting these fine folks together. These are all board members, by the way, for the CRA. So we're talking to a very important and influential group here. Let's go. Let's start out, Warren, with you. Just tell me a little bit. Your title is the Alberta Climate Sales Manager for Cooper in Calgary. Tell us a bit about what you're doing out there and about your particular store.
Yeah, like most cities around Canada, we have difficult winters sometimes. So our climate division is heat and power, also propane out in Alberta. So yeah, I have my sales team out here traveling up and down the highway, building the team and building business.
Awesome. And that's something we may touch on, is the proliferation of different specialties and specialty divisions inside of a lot of rental stores. Shelley, what's your focus there at GNS Equipment Rentals?
Well, our main focus is we're a small business, and I would say it's kind of half and half. We do a lot of like earth moving equipment, so excavators and skid steers and those kind of things. But then we're also getting into a lot of aerial equipment, which is helping to get us through the long winters.
Yeah.
So we've got we bought quite a bit of new aerial equipment in 2025 and again in 2026. So we've got a good variety of different types of lift equipment, and that's kind of keeping us busy at the moment.
Awesome. So, sooner or later, everybody gets into aerial. That's what happens. What's your market like there, Shelley? Who's your typical customer?
So I'd say it's about half and half. We do have quite a few contractors, but we also have like some small businesses that rent from us often, like even people that are like clearing trees and things like that, like a one-man show sort of thing. But we also have a lot of do-it-yourself homeowners as well.
Great. Peter, Unique Diesel is cleaning diesel fuel for rental stores, as you explained to me, which is pretty awesome. But you were also, of course, in the rental business for quite a while. Tell us a bit about your focus these days.
So our focus with Unique Diesel, like you said, I guess in a roundabout way, we clean dirty diesel fuel. So anyone who has an above ground diesel tank or standby generator, backup power, we clean and serve fuel. We basically do a little bit of everything as far as a support role for the rental industry. So after about 12 years in the rental industry, I'm on the other side of the counter now, which is kind of weird, but we do basically we do automatic greasers for heavy equipment. We do automated fuel polishing system. We clean dirty diesel fuel for our generators and standby generators. So for us, it's mostly we do work for the rental houses whenever they have their fuel cubes and their fuel storage systems and their generators, obviously. And for us, mostly our clientele are the equipment. The fine folk who rent equipment or own a fleet of their own. And institutional. We do a lot of government and institutional. Anyone with backup power systems, that kind of thing. So we've kind of developed the in-house tagline. If you think of your fleet, think of Unique Diesel. So we kind of try and keep everyone's fleet rolling down the highway. So
awesome. So that's good. So Warren can talk about his store. Shelley can talk about her store, and Peter, you can talk about all the other stores because you're running around and seeing what everybody's doing, one way or another, right? So that's good. Not that the other two of you don't, because I know how much rental people like to talk about each other. So that's perfect. So Warren, let's start with you. Basically, I want to basically just go to the title of this thing: how to get more from your rental store. What start me off with, what's your elevator pitch to somebody who's in the home construction business and maybe isn't renting a lot of stuff, maybe thinks they need to own everything? What would you say to them, coming from your perspective?
Yeah, I would start off saying that we're a Canadian-owned national company. We touch on every aspect of the rental business. So we can help you in the winter, we can help you in the summer, we can help you with dirt, we can help you with elevation. So we have a lot of trained people across the country who could give you answers to your questions. So when it comes to any sort of size of construction project, there's always things that pop up where solutions need to be recommended or suggested. And yeah, that's what the rental industry is here for, is to help people with solutions when they come across their problems. There's the right tool for the job is always that saying, the right tool for the job makes the job easier. So it's the experience in the industry, it's the experience with the people in it that can help out with projects of any size, homeowner, home builder, agriculture, industrial, commercial. So
yeah. Shelley, talking about solutions, and I agree with Warren, that's one of the big advantages is I think if you have got a problem on a job site or with a project, and you may not even know exactly what you need in order to resolve that. I think what a lot of people don't understand is you can walk into a rental store and those people, the person you're talking to is going to have dealt with multiple different contractors, multiple different people doing all kinds of different projects, and they may have an insight for you on what you should use in that project. Does that kind of thing go on at your store at all?
Yes, absolutely it does. And my husband Jeff can bring a lot to the table as well, because for 20 years he built houses and did renovations. So that's helpful in our area where we are. A lot of people know him and respect him from being around doing that for the 20 years. So oftentimes they'll come in and say, this is what I'm trying to do. What can I do? And all of us learn from that as well. If we didn't know, we always will be like, oh, let's listen and see. So then we can recommend it as well. But there is so many tools and items that, keep coming up that people, are like, I didn't even know that it existed. So that's one good thing. And also for contractors, especially that, they might need it more than one time versus buying it. At least they can come in and try it and see. And often I get people saying to me, well, I'd rather just rent it from you because I don't want to have to service it and take care of it. So that's kind of where we're at as well. So we try our best to obviously have as much variety as we can and to help people out as best as we can. And we also know a lot about the area. So some people that, may not have been brought up here in Nova Scotia don't realize that their yard is just a big rock. So, they might be like, oh, can I rent a trencher? But that's not a good idea here. So things like that. Yeah.
I can imagine. I love it, Shelley. And that, it's such a bonus, I have to say, in this day and age, to be able to walk into a place, a friendly place, talk to a human being, someone who may actually know your name, and just have that conversation. Your chances of getting the right thing just went way up, and your chances of spending less time trying to get the right thing just went way up. I mean, okay, you have to drop in and have a chat at the counter for a few minutes, but you know what? You're out in the truck anyways. I just think it's a better way to do business, in my personal opinion. Of course, I'm very old, but that's that's how I kind of do things. Peter, having done rentals and now doing rental service, and actually a little bit to when Shelley was talking, I was thinking, I think a lot of people don't realize that even if the equipment you want is not right there in the store that you're at, there's often a very great capability to do what we call re-rentals and get rental equipment from other places. So really the one store that you're at has a much bigger inventory than just its own thing. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that can be an advantage for contractors?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about a network. It's another tool in the toolbox to build a network to be able to get a job done. So quite often what you'll find is a lot of the people in rental actually have good relationships with other rental houses. So to your point, you're not limited to what's just in the building, because quite often you can get the inventory you need from other companies, other suppliers, other vendors, and relatively a phone call away, which is nice. One of the things too that I think that a lot of people, I always kind of tell this to people, is that stick with what you're good at, right? So if you're a home builder, if you're a contractor, your strength and what you're good at is building houses and building buildings. And people, just like people rely on those contractors and those home builders for their expertise on getting a job done, in turn, you can rely on the expertise of the independent and corporate rental stores to be able to help you. And so, especially in today's day and age where time is money, and it's, with the more limited resources and the more limited manpower that's out there, renting equipment as opposed to trying to own it, to be able to do all the back end work that goes with it. Instead of that tying up your resources, you can actually add a resource that has a bunch of resources as well to be able to get your job done a bit more efficiently. And one couple of the things that we go up against is just as far as renting equipment, is it's not on your books. So, it's built into a job. It's not assets. It's not something that, especially as a small business, to be able to finance a bunch of other equipment and to tie up more cash and stuff. You're able to bid jobs and bid the equipment in the job, and when it's not in use, it's back back at the respective rental houses. So
yeah, not having to keep a mechanic on staff, not having to store the equipment either in a yard or a facility. I mean, who has extra land lying around? It's a big, and the mechanic and the repair maintenance thing I think is huge. Warren, what are some of the effects that a contractor might see in their business from looking more closely at renting and doing more renting? Is it something that can save you a lot of cost?
Can save costs. It's a matter of not putting out the capital. Similar to what Peter said, it's not a matter of just having to pay a bunch of money for something you'd use a couple times a year or anything like that. It's you rent it. When you're done with it, you give it back. You don't have to store it. You don't have to repair it. It's one of the things, to write off for your company also, right? So it's not that capital purchase right at the beginning that you have to bulk up and save for and ultimately pay off. So and time, like Peter said, also time's important to people. So get it, use it, bring it back.
Yeah. And Shelley, does renting equipment mean you're going to be waiting around for delivery a lot?
No, like in my circumstance, no, for sure. I mean, we have a full-time truck driver, so we're able to get things out fairly quickly. And especially if it's booked ahead of time, it's scheduled, we tell them when we're coming. We can bring it right to their site and they can continue to work until we get there or however that plans out. The other thing I wanted to say was, for the savings as well, like renting versus buying, is insurance. Insurance is so expensive for all
Wow.
these pieces of equipment, that, that helps. If, you have to insure it. If you buy it, you have to insure it for the whole year, each and every year. So, it helps to rent it too if you don't need it all the time.
That is a great point. That's right. And the insurance, and then for the insurance, you're often going to need a trained operator. And maybe you've got that and maybe you don't. The and to the other, like, the financial points are actually great. Those rental expenses come off your taxes right away. That's an expense. Gone, right? You buy the capital equipment, you got to wait for it to depreciate, and it's a little bit over time, and it's not as big of a benefit. Well, the tax treatment of the depreciation is better, but it's never as much money. So it kind of works out to be a better deal on that. Peter, what would you tell somebody? This is a difficult question because there's all different kinds of equipment. So I don't know, maybe I should narrow it down to one thing, but like, what would you tell somebody about how much they need to use an excavator before they would buy one? Like, is there an idea of how much you would need it?
I don't know necessarily about how much, but it would just, to me, it would be a cost benefit, cost return. So, and it's funny when we were thinking about renting, an excavator's a brand new excavator is $150,000 to $200,000, and you can rent it for a couple $1,000 a week.
Right.
So I think, especially, I can say, I always tell people, especially for the compaction, for example, anything that beats the ground for a living, you may as well just rent it, because all that is a bill towards the end of the year. And quite honestly, in my rental store days, we had a lot of the major infrastructure contractors that would come in, and they would rent jumping jacks and plate compactors for a solid season. And, they didn't, at the end of the year, they went, "Thanks for coming out. I'll see you next April." And that way, the rental, as far as the equipment, the maintenance, the upkeep, it was a way to, again, to not have your expensive resources in your employees tying up their time chasing a plate tamper or chasing a little jumping jack. In some ways, those little minor inconveniences, nickels holding up loonies kind of deal, that, your guys can better, can be out on sites and generating revenue for the contractor instead. So I don't think there's a magic number. I think it's more of just, does it make sense to finally purchase one as opposed to renting? And again, it's important just to make sure the maintenance and the running around that goes with that said piece of equipment, is it worth it in the long run, or am I just better off building it into the job?
Especially with compaction equipment, because that stuff breaks down all the time. It gets the hell beaten out of it, and needs to be almost fixed.
Well, there's a lot, and I mean, someone brought up a really good point too of when you're renting it, a piece of equipment gets dropped off you, it's been safety checked, it's been pre-delivery inspected. So for your health and safety, your workers' comp, a lot of these things, it checks a lot of boxes as is. And so when you talk, like I said, with compaction, but also aerial stuff needs to be recertified, needs to be rechecked. There's a lot of other maintenance pieces behind the scenes that can add up for a contractor to own equipment. And sometimes it really kind of makes it less glamorous to own it as opposed to just renting it for whenever it's needed.
And I love that point about that, even some very large companies, the largest companies, the Ellis Dons of the world, will often just rent stuff all the
Yeah.
time. They could afford to buy it all if they wanted to, but they've done the numbers, and it doesn't make any sense for them. So there's an argument to be made there. Okay, folks, anything on the general benefit of rentals before we move on? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next little topic here, which is this could get spicy. Online versus in-person rentals. Of course, we're in the digital age, right, folks? And I think everybody knows my feeling on it, because I just complimented Shelley on the personal in-person service at GNS. But of course, we're in a digital world. There are apps all over the place, several different ones, where you can go in, see a big menu of equipment. Sometimes it's coming from a dealer. Sometimes it's coming from a variety of rental houses. Some rental stores have made their own apps where you can just get what they have. Of course, everyone has websites where you can do e-commerce on them. Warren, let's steelman it. What's good about online rentals?
I think it's fair to say that in person is ideal for the contractor builder. Questions could be asked. You can touch and learn the equipment. Online, we're dealing with a multi-generational industry now, right? So some people really are way more comfortable with an online app or process of getting equipment. So the benefit of it, there's some efficiency with it. The ability to just research on your own and find out what you need and order it up somewhere online. So, there's some, like I said, some generations just want to do that. That's the instinct right now. So I think as a larger national company, I think the view itself is to make sure everybody's covered in that. So we do have storefront. People come in, we have wonderful conversations, and some people just rely on online ordering, and that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. If that's what they're comfortable with, and they trust the place that they're ordering from, that they're going to get the correct equipment when they need it in working order, then yeah.
Shelley, I don't think my kids have set foot inside a restaurant for a few years now, unless we take them, because they're ordering everything on Uber Eats. Why is getting rental equipment different than ordering a hamburger?
Well, I think, we're a small store, so I don't have online. And I mean, the day that I have to change to that, I'm not sure. It makes me feel very old. But anyway, I'm not there yet. However, I think there's a lot of difference, because I feel like you would have more mistakes in getting equipment. They're going to order, well, I thought that's what it did, or I watched a YouTube video and it said it did this, but it in fact wasn't the correct thing. And then you have a customer that's not happy, but what can you do? They ordered it themselves. That's just kind of my opinion. And I know a lot of people like to do online, and people are getting out of talking face to face, but I'd rather have that, conversation, personal touch, show them, not just all be behind the scenes. But I know eventually it probably will go to that route. But I just think it's important to actually see it, talk about it, make sure what you want is what you're actually ordering.
It's not like the mistakes don't happen, Peter, right? Even in a face-to-face interaction, because communication is hard, and people end up with something that wasn't right for their job, or they end up with something that they don't know how to operate. That's going to happen no matter what. Do you, in your opinion, Peter, is like, aren't you just compounding your difficulties or your potential difficulties a lot by just picking a picture off a website and hitting a checkbox?
I mean, to kind of circle back on something you said, what's the difference between ordering a hamburger online and ordering a piece of equipment, is the hamburger can't kill you if it's incorrect. And so part of the battle, there's a couple of issues there. And part of the battle is that the terminology and lingo for equipment is different in every jurisdiction that you're in. So I remember in my early rental store days, I had a customer call and said, I need a Zoom. Okay.
Peter, your audio's cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay, I guess you want to see my ugly mug for a minute.
Okay.
Also, I sent a customer a straight stick boom, and the customer called me back and said, "Where are the forks on the end?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the forks. I need the forks to lift something." I said, "Oh, you need a telehandler." And so you have people that, when you, without having that personal relationship or building a relationship with your equipment provider, that helps break down those barriers of what you truly need to do a job as opposed to just picking a picture off the wall. I think that if you're a specific general contractor, for example, a drywaller, and you order 19-foot scissor lifts, to go online and click and you don't really need the interaction because you're only getting one specific thing, that's okay. And there's room for everybody in these types of fields. But I think from a DIY homeowner, that knowledge that comes with visiting your local rental shop, it's not passed on online, right? So another prime example is if you're trying to drill a hole in ceramic tile, and you have people that will take a hammer drill instead of a circular drill with a diamond bit to core a circular hole, right? After you snap a half a dozen tiles, you realize that maybe you don't have the right tool, and then you're on. So that I think as everyone involved in the business and the end user is trying to get the convenience of ordering online, but they also want the personal touch of being able to talk to somebody. So you're always walking a fine line. Like I said, I think there's room for everybody in whatever discipline they decide to do. But again, I think the end user is really missing out by not getting to know your local rental store and leveraging their expertise to help you get a job done and to help provide you the right tool for the job.
And there's always new stuff. There's often things you don't know about that are just coming out. And yeah, I can, as a person who's an expert at taking the hammer drill and making circles with it, because I never have the right tool, I can appreciate that. It would be nice to go in and have somebody tell me what I should be actually using on my tile. I think one application for the online stuff is if you're renting again, the same thing sort of over and over, or you already know, basically what you want, and you just basically want to call for a delivery. And Warren, you must do a lot of, do you do a lot of oil field?
Yep, there's some oil field.
Yeah, you're doing some oil field out there, and people may not know, but these guys are voracious renters of everything. They're constantly cleaning out every rental store around for everything they've got. At least when the oil price goes up and they're actually drilling and it gets busy, that's when it starts to happen. I suppose for those guys, right, Warren, it makes sense to just have an app on their phone, especially when they're so far away. They're out in these remote areas where they can just go click and, bring it, right?
Yeah, logistically, yeah. There's going to be situations like that where they know what they want. They're familiar with the equipment. They trust the company they're getting it from. It's easier that way for sure.
Yeah. But for someone building a home, and somebody trying to get their equipment together for a specific job or a reno job or whatever, I don't know, man. Walking in and talking to Shelly seems to me to be a much better option for just going down the list, because and like I say, Shelly's husband is going to sit there and say, "Oh, well, what about that? You forgot this, and what are you going to do for that?" And all the rest of this stuff. So those are really good conversations to have.
Yeah, solutions to the problems, right?
Like
everybody, and there's multiple ways to do it, right? So suggesting one way that you're familiar with, there could be that new technology you brought up that, it's easier, less expensive, cleaner, more environmentally friendly. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, and you know what? While we're on that, Warren, and you're running a specific focused department within Cooper Equipment Rentals. Talk to me a little bit about specialty rentals and the growth in that really everywhere. Why are rental stores now offering these specialty areas that are focused on maybe trenching, your focus on heat and power, uh, climate control, dewatering. I think there was some places that do that, have specialty that, and yeah. And sorry, talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, diversifying, I think, is just meeting the customer's needs from start to end. There's fencing that you get right at the beginning, generators for site trailers, and then it's the trenching, like you said, pump and power, dirt works, lifts for frameworks, heat in the winter, and then supporting all of that. It's becoming the ability to help a customer out from start to finish of the project. So whatever size of the project, we can help out right from the beginning when it comes to just fencing off the area or moving on to pulling the last generator off site because you have power and you're completed. So
Yeah, like
a lot of larger companies are going towards it. I think smaller companies are going towards it also. And rental companies I'm speaking of is just diversification. It's keeping busy year round with other ways to generate revenue and support your business and your customers.
Yeah, and you don't want to get advice on sizing your generator from the wrong person. So it's when you have these specialty focus inside the store, it's the expertise that builds up in the person working that counter is pretty considerable, and you're going to get some expert help, I might add, that isn't just focused necessarily on one product. If you're in a more of a general tool environment, they deal with a number of different. You might have a number of different brands in there. Now, most rental stores have a favorite, and most of their stuff is that. But I mean, they usually have had exposure over the course of their careers to most of what's out there. So that's a major advantage as well. Okay, guys. Anything else on online rentals? Let me do this, Shelley. Do you feel that that's a competitor to you in your market? Do you feel like there's people that might have walked into your store in the past, but now are doing everything off apps?
I don't feel that. I mean, I could be wrong, but here in Nova Scotia, I don't feel that yet. I think it could happen, but I don't feel it yet.
Yeah, yeah. What's your sense on that, Peter?
I mean,
Well, I know
I
you're
think,
not running a rental store, but what do your customers say?
yeah, I mean, no, down in our neck of the woods, I think it's still more of a personal touch. There's not a lot of the options for strictly online rental. I think, like I said, I mean, I think there is, when you talk about dewatering, climate, all these kind of things that rental stores provide, that diversification, there's a sense of urgency behind those rentals, right? Your basement's full of water, you lose your power. It's like a friend of mine used to be with NB Power here. He said, would you like to know a little secret about the power? I said, sure. He goes, no one cares about it until it doesn't turn on. So when you have these types of diversified fields that the rental stores are taking now, it's a testament to that they're able to serve the customer, and they're able to have that knowledge that you might not get on a screen, right? Because when the power, to your point from earlier, if you need help right sizing a generator, you don't always get that on a screen. If you need help, the right size pump, if you have, if you're down, depending on the elevation, you might need high head, you might need trash, you might need a 3-inch or a 4-inch pump, and someone brings you a regular little pool pump with a 1/2-inch garden hose. So it's a matter of, again, that diversification people count on that knowledge when they're standing on the other side of the counter. So like I said, I think that I think that there's room for some of these, and I think that you are going to have a bit of a natural tendency to people to want to go online because the new generation is less people-y. They don't like to talk to people as much, but I do think there's going to come a time where you might have to. So it's important that everyone is still there and still involved, because at the end of the day, there is a need to serve, and you hope that you're able to get it done. So
we'll dig the last extrovert out of Gen Z somewhere, Peter, and
let me know when you do that.
Yeah.
See if we can find one and send them in to talk to the rental store. Perfect. Okay, folks, moving on. We were talking a little bit offline about a trend that I noticed, and it as my time in the rental industry was coming to an end, but it had been going on for a few years and sort of accelerating. Equipment dealers, the people who are selling the various kinds of construction equipment and tools, are more and more offering rentals. And basically, I think most major equipment dealerships that you talk to now, you have the option to rent or buy. Did not used to be the case. There was concern that they would hurt their sales to rental stores if they competed with them by renting the equipment, and so they didn't do it. That appears to have gone by the wayside in this day and age. Warren, in your opinion, what's the difference between renting from an equipment dealer, and renting from a general tool house like your own?
Yeah, I think there's a bias that's naturally going to be there. A dealer would want their equipment on site and tell you the benefits of their equipment based compared to other people's equipment. There's a less bias from the general rental stores. Our job as rental stores is to find a solution to your problem. And so the name on the equipment isn't as important as my reputation or my recommendation to you on what you should do to succeed with your project. So the color of the equipment, the brand, not so much an issue, rather than just focusing on the issue and then finding the solution. That's the priority.
Shelley, is there a lot of variance between brands of and pick any kind of equipment, lifts, anything? Do you feel that there's a lot of variance in the brands from what they're good at? Like for instance, is one lift manufacturer particularly good at booms? And is another lift manufacturer better at scissors? I mean, is there or pick any kind of equipment you want? I mean, do you see where it would be advantageous to be able to think about different brands when you're thinking about a job?
So some of our customers are, solely, I only want to rent such and such of brand because they're used to how it runs.
Right. Good point.
So we try here to have a few different types or name brands of certain types of equipment. Some we can't, just because of if we buy more, then obviously it's better for us, but with the same brand. But so for example, I'll just put this out there. So we have, for skid steers, we have Cat skid steers and we have Kubota skid steers. Some people will be like, no, I do not want to rent the Kubota. I only want the Cat skid steer. Although they're the exact same in size, they do run a little bit different. The door opens different. So some people are super fussy about that, which is fine. And other people are not. Some people don't even ask. Or some people are just like, I want a Bobcat. But I'm like, well, I don't have a Bobcat, but that's just a name brand. Then they don't even know, right?
Yeah.
The thing with me about rental houses selling equipment is it may be just a thorn in my side, but I'm like, just stay in your lane. Like, either do sales or do rentals. So we've had Nova Scotia is a small province. So we've had a couple of different things where people or salespeople come in and they try to sell us equipment, but yet then we find out that they're renting it, and we've lost a couple customers because of that, because of course they can do it cheaper. So I mean, it's going to happen. I'm not going to stop that from happening. But I just wish it wouldn't. If you're going to rent. If you're going to sell. But it is the way it is. So.
Yeah, I think it was kind of Cat that ripped the Band-Aid off on that, wasn't it? Because when they opened all their rental stores all over the country, I mean, decades ago, that was sort of the well, that and Bobcat, I mean, were the two big ones. But that's, I think your point is well taken, Shelley, that familiarity with the equipment and knowing the brand and possibly being able to get the one you want, that can be a big impactor on it for sure.
Yeah. And I do find too with specifically with aerial equipment, people who have been used to using aerial equipment, for years, all the new stuff comes out with way more safety features. And they're like, well, such and such never did that, but it would if you had the brand new version of that. If it's an old one, it doesn't have this safety switch or this override or this or that. So, I've had people phone and say it just won't stop beeping, but there isn't actually something wrong with it. It's just a safety issue. Whereas every year they come out with something, different, or they add to them. But I think it's all across the board. It just works a little bit different on each brand.
Another aspect, Peter, is just the ability, at least in my opinion, especially when you're a small contractor, you want to go to one place and you want to be able to get everything you're going to need for this job at that one place, right? Likely something you're not going to be able to do at an equipment dealer. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think equipment dealers renting equipment served as more of a branding exercise than it necessarily did as I'm going to now get into rental, right? By renting equipment and doing some of these things, it gained a bit of familiarity so that the ultimate goal is these companies, these bigger companies and bigger manufacturers can gain market share by making fans kind of at a grassroots level. I think that over time, dealers renting equipment has evolved that if you don't take it for a month or you don't take it for a set period of time, they aren't necessarily jumping at it. So a smaller contractor to be able to go in and rent a skid steer, you wouldn't go to a dealer, an actual big dealer, and say, I'd like this skid steer for one day. I don't think they're geared that way. I think it's more designed as a rental purchase, like an RPO, or a much longer term rental. I mean, I think that a lot of people, it's kind of like the people who rent a certain car and drive it for a day before they decide to buy it or before they decide to do any of those things. I think if you're a Cat guy, a Kubota, if you're a Cat, Kubota, John Deere, if you're looking for just what would this tool be like? What would this skid steer be like if I bought it? Quite often you can probably rent that one from the dealer and buy that very unit that you're using and say, here, this is a rental purchase or whatever. I think from the actual contractor that wants to come in and get multiple tools or have a multiple sort of usage for these tools, you'd still tend to favor a rental house as opposed to an equipment dealer.
Right.
Makes sense.
We called the magazine that is still out there and that I used to work on Canadian Rental Service. We didn't call it Canadian Rental Store. We didn't call it Canadian Equipment Rentals. We had the word service right in the title of the brand. And I think that's kind of what Peter is talking about here or maybe I'm jumping off from what Peter is talking about here is the equipment dealer. Equipment dealers love service. They charge well for it and they make good money off it. But a rental house is built on service. I did, my God, I must have done 30 or 40 or maybe 50 company profiles. And whenever I would ask a rental store, what's the secret of your success, or why do you how do you stay in business? How have you done this? The answer was always, we offer the very best service. We are slaves to service, and getting up at 4 a.m. and going out to freezing cold fields to restart generators, and I mean the whole thing, right? Warren, tell me a bit about that. What do you feel is the commitment to service that might be different at a rental house than it is at an equipment dealer? Not to slag the equipment dealers; they're all nice people and they help us all out. But what is the different focus there?
Yeah, this rental houses need the service, right? It's not always walk-in customers that all the time. You need to have deliveries that are going to be on time. You need to have a service tech be available to assist, because lost time on a site for a contractor is money. So a matter of maintaining that relationship that you have with your customers at whatever level it is, building that trust, and supporting them. I tell people all the time, my success is based on my customer success, right? If they can be successful, then I can be successful. So it's having that service to make them successful so I can be successful also.
Yeah. Shelley, what do you tell young employees, people joining the company? Of course, I don't know. Sometimes, maybe it's been a long time since you had one. I don't know. But what do you tell young people coming into your company or into the industry about how they should think about servicing the customers?
Well, obviously, I'm the same like everyone. 100% customer service, for sure. Do whatever we can. Kind of old school is what I always say. Like, if people come in and they, are struggling, open the door for them, bring the equipment out for them, like make it as easiest as possible for them so that they want to come back. Always thank them, and, just kind of check in with people and have that conversation with them, make them feel like they're welcome to come into our store and we're happy to have their business.
A lot of this is aligned with what a contractor has to do. Warren used the word trust. Before you're going to have somebody start $100,000 renovation on your house, you have to trust them, and you have to feel that you have open lines of communication, and that's just one of the biggest things I talk about all the time with my contractors is that need for trust and that need for mutual understanding, and that's the kind of thing you can build at a local rental store. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you can end up with really a partner in your business. Peter, what can you think of any examples of crazy service stuff that you had to do back when you were?
I'd rather not. I'm still recovering from some of those. But I have, and I can actually give you a prime example. We, as some of you may or may not know, I mean, obviously, Irving is a conglomerate business, but Kent Mobile Shelters was very much a niche business and built on personal relationships and built on being there when it mattered. And we have one multinational competitor out in Atlantic Canada. I won't name the name, but they're out in Atlantic Canada. And I'd gotten a call the week of Christmas from a client, and they said, we need a 12 by 40 job trailer with one office. I said, sure. They called on a Saturday. Christmas was in a week. I got the quote off to him within about 2 minutes of him calling. He booked the trailer. We had it delivered on Monday. It was a new year, and the multinational called in the new year and said, did you call us looking for product? And they said, actually, yeah, Kent Mobile Shelters brought it to me. I called them a week after I called you, which was a little insulting, but I'll let them away with it. They did rent from you. But he said, we called them a week after we called you, and we're actually sitting in the trailer, and we're working out of here, and you're just returning our call. Now, I'm not saying that no one's perfect, right? I mean, not everyone's Warren. But hey, we've got that those things do happen. But again, it goes back to service and whether you're a contractor, whether you're an equipment provider, if you're a contractor, hammer nails and 2x4s are hammer nails and 2x4s. It's the knowledge and it's how you treat your customer and it's it's the knowledge and the service of what you do with those is what sets you apart. And it's the same thing in the equipment industry. In the big picture, let's not get too excited. I mean, equipment's equipment. A skid steers are skid steers. Yes, they all have plus or minus or a quirk, but it's all there. And so what your differentiator is the service behind it, and it counts for something, right? At the end of the day, that service counts for something. That's your differentiator, and why you might be able to get a little bit more for your equipment than someone else. That's why people come to you. That's why you become that resource and that tool in their toolbox. It's just as important as the hammer and circular saw that a customer leaves with. That customer has you as a resource in their back pocket to be able to help get a job done.
Fantastic.
And it's that relationship too. If I may share a short story,
yes,
one that I share, it's that relationship with the people that you're working with as clients, customers. I had one client that called me on a Thursday and said, I need a clown for my daughter's birthday party on Saturday. Now, I didn't know Peter at the time, but I did some research and put them in touch with somebody. But that's the relationship part, right? Like it's the problems. We need to call the rental guy to figure it out and help us out and complete what's necessary. So it extends beyond just equipment too. Sometimes it's just I need a recommendation to a contractor. I need somebody who's an expert in doing this, because we tend to know a lot of people in the contractor business. So,
yeah,
Shelley, if you're looking for you're moving into aerials, clown rentals could be a new.
I'll have to put some thought into that.
Yeah, just have a shelf of them back there ready to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Quick round the horn to finish us off. Warren, what is one thing that you wish contractors would do more with their rentals? How could people be using the rental store in a way that they aren't?
Connect with them. Like I said, it's a matter of your project. We've got experience with the equipment. We can help you out, make recommendations, help with solutions, bring us the problems. We can help with solutions. Build a relationship with that rental store. There's so much more than just play tampers or anything like that. It's a industry full of great people. It's a unique industry where rental stores help each other out. And I would say get connected with them, get to know them, utilize their knowledge, utilize their equipment.
Shelley, same question to you. What do you wish your customers would ask you more about?
Well, I think it's very similar to what Warren said, but a lot of people don't realize what we have, and that they don't have to run to, like, we're probably 30 to 40 minutes from the city. So if they're working near us, pop in, because we might be able to help you. We might have something to save you time. And a lot of people just don't realize how much inventory and how many different tools and, machines that we have. So same thing, just connection, chatting, it goes a long way. And it can help in both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter, what are contractors missing out on if they're not using their rental store?
They're missing out on a partner to help them get stuff done. If I can give one message to a contractor, it's for the love of God, loop us in, right? Because in today's day and age, your supply chain changes, your conditions on your job site changes. Everything is, nothing stays the same. So I think the more you can loop, the rental houses in from the get-go, even if the project isn't starting in 24 hours, right? Like quite often, what'll happen is it's an immediate need, but a rental house can do an immediate need, but they can also help you with long-term needs. And in today's day and age, your cost of labor is going up, your delays and stuff can happen, and things can compound on you rather quickly. So it's nice to be able to loop them in. It's nice to be able to have that relationship. I always, in the rental industry, I always say it's that law of averages, and some days you're the dog and some days you're the hydrant. Like you have some of these days where your drywall guy might have a bunch of gear sitting there and he goes, I didn't get my delivery today and it's only coming on such and such a time now. Can you help me out? 9 times out of 10, you can. Somehow we're going to do it, right? Like that's just how we're wired. But if you're not looped in with us and it's only a one-off relationship, or if it's whatever, that window is not necessarily open for that, right? Like you have to just kind of loop yourself in, get them involved from the get-go. Make sure that you can keep the equipment reserved. Make sure you can have the gear that you need. Make sure it helps eliminate those extra headaches that you might not think of. There's always a headache every day. Hopefully we're here to provide you a little bit of aspirin and not just rent it to you, right? Like hopefully we're here to be able to help you out long term. And I think that's the biggest message, if I can give any contractor, is just talk to us and loop us in. There's hundreds of independent and bigger corporate stores. We all have the same objective in mind, and really just loop us in and talk to us.
Talk to your rental store, people. That's the message. And I think you guys have given a lot of great reasons why everybody listening and watching this would want to do that. Warren Carrier, Cooper Equipment Rentals, Shelley Cole, GNS Equipment, and Peter Kinney at Unique Diesel. Thank you so much for this excellent discussion. Brought to you again by Cooper Equipment Rentals and the Canadian Rental Association, helping us out with this. Thanks so much for joining us all on how to get more from your rental store. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.